money compared to the automobiles they're using before. And as you notice, the automobile industry is beginning to adjust here at home as consumer demand changes. And the great thing about our system, it is a consumer that drives our system. It's the individual American and their collection that end up driving the economy. Yeah, I am.
Could I follow up on a couple of points, please?
Okay.
You never mention oil companies.
The economy. Yeah, I am.
Could I follow up on a couple of points, please?
Okay.
You never mention oil companies.
The value of the U.S. dollar. I'll give you some statistics right now. It's hit an all-time low against the euro. It sank below 99 yen. That's the weakest since 1995. It's plunged below 1 Swiss franc for the first time ever. What, if anything, are you doing about the value of the U.S. dollar, which seems to be falling rather rapidly?
Wolf, you've heard me before. I believe very strongly that a strong dollar is in our nation's interest. We have a strong dollar policy. I make the points repeatedly that every economy goes through some ups and downs. We're going through a tough patch right now in our economy. Our long-term funds,
which are obviously a disaster.
Well, to step back, I have great confidence in our capital markets and in our financial institutions. Our financial institutions, banks and investment banks are strong. Our capital markets are resilient.
If you wouldn't have bailed out Bear Stearns, would there have been a problem with Goldman Sachs, your former company, or J.P. Morgan, or some of the other huge investment houses?
I will repeat what I said. Our financial institutions are strong. Our investment banks are strong. Our banks are strong. They're going to be strong for many, many years.
The problem we've got here is high oil, low dollar. Now take a look at over the last year. As the dollar has been sinking, the price of oil has been going up because oil is denominated in dollars. So that orange line is the dollar, the blue line is oil. If you're Saudi Arabia and you're selling oil, you're getting dollars in exchange. Those dollars don't buy you as much in Europe or wherever else. So how do you make up for it? You restrict the outflow of oil and you get more money for the oil. So there's a school of thought that says dollar goes down, oil goes up. We're seeing the dollar again today hitting new lows. We're seeing and by the way, you're looking
have to raise.
Prices for all kinds of baked goods are going to be heading up, and that's all because of the rapid rise in the cost of a bag of flour, which is the result of wheat trading near an all-time high. The price of wheat is now 2.5 times what it was just a year ago. Why? Huge demand for ethanol has farmers planting more corn to produce the fuel when they could be growing wheat. And the dollar sinking to a record low is making U.S. wheat relatively cheap for foreigners. As a result, nearly 60% of the wheat harvested last year is being exported, leaving wheat supplies here at the lowest level since the end of World War II. Another factor pushing prices skyward.
It's killing us. It's killing
areas. Finally, I note that the subprime crisis has affected markets not only here in the United States, but all over the world. And so we have been working closely with our international...
Squarely within your realm, and that is the question of a weaker dollar. In 2000, we ran a budget surplus. Ever since then, the federal government has been running up larger budget deficits. We added to that a $1.6 trillion tax cut and a $700 billion war that would generally contribute to larger budget deficits. And if you look at that and you look at the twin deficits of both trade and the budget, in combination you have with a low domestic savings rate, you have all of the makings of a weakening dollar. In 2002, the barrel of oil cost $23 and 23 euros. Now it costs, well, the chairman had even a higher figure than I had. I had 145 and 90 euros. I'm sure it just changed overnight. Do you agree with the Commodity Futures Trading Commission and others that the weakening dollar has contributed to the higher price of oil as an elemental part of our challenge?
I do agree, and I said so in my testimony. It should be noted that the decline in the dollar from 2002 reversed an appreciation of the dollar that took place from the early 90s until that point, and it's related to the dynamics of our trade deficit, as you alluded to.
Say today here in the Senate that you believe, as Chairman of the Federal Reserve,
that our banking system is stable and capitally strong?
Our banking system is well capitalized. It came in with strong capital. We are watching the situation very carefully.
We've heard figures of 150 banks potentially going down because I assume of this adjustment that you're just kind of talking about. Do you guys have any projections on what kind of impact banking institutions going down, how many there potentially could be in the next year, or do you not want to comment on that?
I think I would just refer you to Chairman Bayer's list and discussion from last couple of days. We don't have a projection.
How many are on that list?
About 95, as I recall.
18-month temporary authority to purchase, only if necessary, equity in either of the two GSEs. Am I correct in understanding that authority, the dollar amount would be unlimited?
Yes, Senator, on that.
Exactly what your proposal is, that government be the backstop.
Our proposal, again, Senator, is that, well, you've heard me answer it. And if you've got a better idea, I'd like to hear it.
Where will the money come from? If in fact, where will the money come from if in fact we have to use the backstop?
As I said to you, that it is my very strong belief that the way we can minimize the cost to the taxpayer, the way to minimize that cost
is not
and the likelihood is to be unspecified and enhance the confidence in the market. So that's my answer. It continues to be my answer.
But it doesn't answer the question.
Well,
where is the money going to come from if you have to put it up?
Well, obviously it'll come from the government, but I would say this.
Who is the government?
The taxpayer. And
There have long been clear rules that prohibit market manipulation by knowingly spreading false rumors. But for the entirety of its 74-year history until 2008, the Commission had never brought an enforcement action of this kind. It is probably because of the difficulty in tracing where a false rumor starts and proving that it was knowingly false that these cases haven't been brought in the past. But now the same technology that instantly spreads rumors around the globe is also helping law enforcement track down the culprits.